Hi, for my Chalk Talk, I'm looking at individual sport versus team sport motivation. Some pretty simple definitions to start off. An individual sport is a sport in which participants compete as individuals. However, there can be team events in an individual sport, such as a relay race, or in golf, they have the Ryder Cup, which is you play as an individual, but your score gets combined with other athletes. Then a team sport is a sport that involves teams of players, which would be like hockey, baseball, football, soccer. So the first article I looked at was motivation for participation in sports based on athletes in team and individual sports. So this was a study that looked at 265 athletes from four different team sports and two individual sports. And the results of this study found that there was definitely differences in motivation to participate between the individual and team sport. On average, they found that individual sport athletes had more motivation than team sport athletes. And also, I found it interesting, but it wasn't really the goal of this article for me, was that they found a difference between gender and motivation. And lastly, they noted from a previous study, not this particular one, that individual sport athletes typically were more motivated by status and ego. So the second article I looked at was the difference between team and individual sports with respect to psychological skills, overall emotional intelligence, and athletic success motivation. I kind of ignored the first two pieces there and only looked at athletic success motivation. And the study looked at the different aspects in team and individual sports and kind of what got the players motivated to play. And they found that in team sports, the motivation came more extrinsically, in that meaning it was the the Friday night lights, like everyone, like the fans, it's a big game against a rival, like you can feel kind of the nerves before the game. And they also saw the managers, the coaches, or at the professional level, the wages that the players are receiving. And these all have influences on how the player is going to be motivated. So this third article I looked at kind of analyzed the other side of what gets the individual sport athletes going, and the study did kind of confirm what I thought, in that individual sport athletes had more intrinsic motivation while team sport athletes had extrinsic motivation. So I have two high profile cases. The first high profile case is with Coach Herb Brooks, who was the coach of the 1980 men's U.S. Olympic hockey team that went on to go win the gold medal. And so I clipped in a video of a speech that it's loosely based on a true story. It's not really him speaking, it's an actor, and it's from the movie Miracle, which I figured almost everyone's seen. But in this speech, if you listen, he does a good job of kind of using the extrinsic forces around him, saying like everyone at home's behind them, like everyone's watching, like people are just counting them out. So he kind of channels all the forces around the players and uses it to get them fired up and get them ready for the game. My second high profile case is, although he's not a coach, he's kind of his own coach in a way, is Tiger Woods. And so in the video I put in here, you can see Tiger talks about his like daily routine when he was 23 years old. And it's insane. He gets up, works out, runs 4 miles, then he'll golf for like 9 hours, then run 4 miles, then play basketball or whatever with whoever's around. And like as you can see, he's kind of just he has his internal oven going that's keeping him motivated. So how would I apply this to my own coaching? I think it's important to recognize that athletes are always going to be motivated by different things around them, and some athletes are going to be way more motivated than others. And I think as a coach, it's important to recognize what these players might be feeling at the time, because say you do have that big game coming up, I think a good coach should be able to kind of channel that energy that comes around the big game and let the players kind of feel it and get themselves going a little bit more. And I also think it's important to recognize that motivation can look and feel like a lot of different things. There's not one clear cut way to look at it.